Okay, so the last time, we had a conversation, we were talking about the cripification of the culture. For anybody who doesn't understand quite what that means, we were speaking on the overall impact that Crip Inc., if you will, has had on hip hop. In particular, we were taking a look at the recent influx in New York City, in particular in Brooklyn, of Crip rappers, of Crip-based rappers. Today, we might want to take a overall holistic look across the country, of the Crips' influence on hip hop, and exactly what impact that has had on the culture. Right. And of course, the day that we released our video of the cripification of the culture, hip hop saw the loss on February 19th of one of the main rappers coming out of Brooklyn, representing that particular energy, and this would be the brother Pop Smoke, right? He lost his life in Los Angeles. So this conversation is not only very relevant at this time, but it has metamorphed and is mutated, into something totally different. Because it's like a cachet has opened up, and I've learned a whole lot more about what has been going on, with this blue wave across hip hop.
Of course. So, that being said.
Yes.
We want to continue from there, right? But I wanted to ask this question. I'm kind of all over the place a little bit.
No problem.
So bear with me. But when did you notice the gang activity inside of music, period? I've been trying to figure that out for the longest.
Let me be clear on my observation, right?
Okay.
Because my observation on the infiltration of gang culture into hip hop, it supersedes, of course it would supersede Cash Money. I had to listen to myself in here, but it's an arc, it's a progression, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So Cash Money pretty much picked up where Dipset at the time had already lit the flame, but Dipset had kind of picked up where, ironically enough, where Biggie Smalls and Junior Mafia ended it at. Because the first times that I ever seen Crips or heard about Crips in New York, right? It was when Junior Mafia comes back from LA after Big gets killed. Right?
That's heavy.
Ironically enough, right? They had got Cripped in when they was out there, or they had some level of a Crip affiliation. New York was blood at that time.
Okay.
But Big apparently got killed by blood. So when the King of New York gets X'd out, right, you got to understand the way youth culture rolls. Youth culture's like shit. Same way that little niggas wanted to put on G-Unit hats and jerseys. Whoever's the gang at the moment, that's who's going to get my allegiance.
Right.
But when the King of New York gets clipped by an associate, by an organization, then those people by proxy take the steam and the energy away from that entire demonstration. So Big said, "I rely on best die to shut it down if I die." Nobody ever shut it down. You know what I'm saying? He went out there and he got killed. And prior to that, we know that the Crips was involved with killing Tupac, right, with Baby Lane.
Right.
And then the Bloods was involved with killing Big.
Exactly.
Right? Even through David Mackey or whoever, Amir Muhammad, whoever they're implicating and saying was responsible, because Big was getting security from the LA Crips at that time.
Okay.
Of which, I heard that they had attempted, because I done heard every theory possibly known to man.
Right.
And I was in the streets of Brooklyn at the time, and what was being said was that Big was getting security provided by LA Crips by way of a Harlem gangster named Zip.
I heard
right?
the same exact story.
Yeah.
So
they was trying to put the squeeze play on Puff. Puff ain't want to cough the bread up, and they took Puff's number one asset from him. You know what I'm saying? To spank him for being defiant.
Right.
So this is what I initially heard. about, how that play went down. Not even that it was the Bloods that clipped big. I heard it was the Crips that clipped big. But then Junior Mafia came back and they had a Crip affiliation, so I was confused as fuck. Now, they was the first ones that I had known in more of a major demonstration. Prior to them, I had known about there was a gang out of Brooklyn called UK, right?
Okay.
United Kingdom.
All right.
It was run by a dude from Flatbush called Tip Top. I believe this young man's name was Tip Top.
Okay.
Right? And Tip Top, he had got locked up, you know what I'm saying? And when he came home, he flipped his gang from UK, right? Because Flatbush had a lot of different sectional gangs at the time, right? And his particular clique, he had turned them Crip, you know what I'm saying? So that was the first confirmed presence of Crips that I had known about in Brooklyn.
What year was that?
This was sometime in the 90s, but Biggs.
Big was 96, right?
Yeah, 97.
97.
March 9th, today's March 9th,
All right.
97. So however many years ago from now is when he got clipped.
Mm-hmm.
So around the time that I'm hearing about Tip Top and them bringing the Crips in, around the same time afterwards I heard where C's and them had brought the Crips in when they got back to Brooklyn. Like I said, Brooklyn was predominantly blood at the time. But the quiet thing that no one ever speaks about, like I said, was once you topple the king, right? Mm-hmm. Then shit, who's in charge? Because these children got to follow something.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And they're going to more so gravitate towards wherever, who's the toughest nigga on the block? So Pac affiliated himself with the Bloods. So let me say this. Yeah, the first time that I noticed gangs in hip-hop, of course, it was L.A. Shit, Colors, Ice-T era. And then ushered up into NWA, even though none of them was necessarily affiliated, even though I understand that Eazy-E had Crip affiliations, right, per se. You know what I'm saying? And then Snoop comes with the Crips. And thus begins the total global popularization of gangs and hip-hop. You know what I'm saying? Association, direct association. I don't think the Bloods had a strong enough of an artist that was carrying that flag. We knew who the Bloods was, but we ain't learned through music all of the dictates. You know what I'm saying? Flag on the left. You know what I mean? We learned all of that shit through Snoop.
Right. So the reason why I asked you that question is I was trying to find out, sometimes I get caught up, is the music influencing the streets, or is the street influencing the music? Because it seems like now
It's vice versa.
It's vice versa?
Yeah. It's a little bit of both.
Okay.
The streets is influencing the music, and the music, because it's a stronger beacon signal, is going to places where gang recruitment can't reach, and it's influencing those people. You know what I'm saying? So
by saying that, my question is now, so the last conversation we said we had an influx of Crips, right?
Yes.
So my thoughts is now these A&Rs, if they are any A&Rs, are these execs, are they deliberately going out and getting these Crips? That's like the biggest question in my head. The way that we're led to believe that New York hip hop goes, you know what I'm saying? If you hot, they want a piece of you. Pause. Right.
You know what I'm saying? So the labels are not necessarily the ones that are responsible for making these artists hot. These artists, they got to pop from a grassroots level. They pop from the street, and then the street matriculates up into the nightclubs where the set DJs is like, yo, I threw Sun's song on, and the shit went crazy, right? And now these set DJs is mix show DJs at the radio station. They throw the shit on the radio, it goes crazy. Now the labels get note of it because everything is in that same ecosystem. Mm-hmm. You dig what I'm saying? So the labels are not willing to be outdone and say, yo, for moral reasons, I ain't gonna miss out on this. I'm gonna put some bread behind it. You feel me? And I'm sure that they find a level of comfortability, in making that investment. Case in point, you know what I'm saying? Sony bankrolled Bobby Shmurda, but Sony wasn't there for Bobby Shmurda when he got locked up. But They damn sure cut the check and brought in Pop Smoke. So either they didn't learn a lesson or he ain't learned a lesson. You feel me?